And today's office hours is on the Supplemental Enrichment and Amplification Kit and its applications. And so that is what we're going to cover today. And we want to make sure that before we get started with any sort of advanced experiments, that we're starting from the basics. We're reviewing the literature for how to prepare our cells or use those antibodies, probes, staining molecules, synthetic nucleotide tags, what have you. We want to make sure we're reviewing the literature for those methods, what they're compatible with single cell sequencing. And then we want to make sure that we're incorporating the PIP-seq specific sample prep recommendations from the customer training packet. For those that haven't worked with Illumina Single Cell before, the videos on the video tutorials on the website are a fantastic way to see proper PIP handling technique for the PIP-seq workflow. And it's a great review for those that are used to the workflow or have done it before as well. And last but not least, we want to make sure that we're planning. Plan. A pilot study is so crucial to that larger experiment design. We want to make sure that we're meeting our experimental objectives when we scale up to do that bigger experiment. So planning a small pilot study and optimizing these upstream sample prep workflows is very beneficial in the long run. And so everything that comes with the Supplemental Enrichment and Amplification Kit, we are discussing basically from the product page. It's this highlighted piece from the product page, but on the support page, it is these user guides that we have available on the Illumina Single Cell support page. Those links should be clickable, so if you are interested, you feel free to click those hyperlinks. You can find that documentation that I'm referring to here. And when it comes to the Supplemental Enrichment and Amplification Kit, or the C-Kit, as I'm going to call it from here forward, what applications does it enable? And what can we do with it? Well, as many of you had responded in the poll, we're interested in PIP-seq replay, which is our pips that are pellets stored in the -80 from previous experiments, can be used for a second opportunity to generate cDNA and libraries from that stored pips pellet. It can be a useful troubleshooting tool, and it can potentially rescue an experiment if something happened during library prep. Maybe a pipetting error happened, a reagent spilled, accidents happen, but it allows for a second shot on goal. There's the synthetic nucleotide tag application. Now, this allows for the specific amplification of surface epitope labeled proteins or hashtag oligonucleotides. And so this workflow is frequently discussed with customers, and many try to use this workflow in their labs. And then last but not least, the CROPSeq guide RNA capture application. So in CROPSeq experiments, there are polyadenylated guide RNAs that are used that can be captured in poly-T capture moiety experiments. And since our single cell platform is using a poly-T capture moiety, we can capture these polyadenylated guide RNAs for a CROPSeq solution. Now, this is not a universal CRISPR guide RNA capture solution. This is not a Perturb-seq application. This is specifically a CROPSeq application. And so when it comes to the C-Kit applications that we have, what documentation does Illumina have to support those applications? Well, first and foremost, as I had shown on the support page with that link earlier, we have the user guides for the SNP or hashtag or the CROPSeq guide RNA workflows. Those user guides or reference guides are available on the website at this time. Now, PIP-seq replay, that gives you a second shot on goal. That user guide is not yet on the support page. It will be soon though, so keep an eye out for it. But if you need that user guide at this time, you'll need to reach out to your FAS or tech support, and we will be able to get you that user guide for you directly at this time. So just be aware that that one will be available soon, but it is not yet available at this time. You'll have to reach out to your support staff to get the PIP-seq replay user guide. Now, the C-Kit does enable applications that Illumina does not have user guides for. And that's because the C-Kit is a sandbox. It's a playground. It is a bunch of molecular biology reagents that can enable a researcher to do whatever they think they can imagine to do with it. And some of those applications may be targeted gene amplification from 3' capture. So you might be interested in a specific gene, but we don't have 5' targeted capture. Well, you might be still interested in amplifying out a specific targeted gene. Maybe it's a transgene, maybe it's a gene in a disease state that you're interested in. But in either case, this targeted gene amplification is a application that customers are interested in and use. It's just that with Illumina Single Cell, this is a reads count only method with no molecular counting. And that means that there's not going to be a count of individual transcripts. It's just going to be a yes or no. Is this in that cell or is it not? So we'll cover more of that in the upcoming slides. And then while Illumina does have user guides individually for the SNP workflow and the CROPSeq workflow, there is not a user guide for combining these two workflows together. So for customers that want to do a CROPSeq experiment and maybe surface epitope labeling or hashtagging at the same time, that is an experiment that would require some optimization since we do not have official guidance on how to combine those applications at this time. But in tech support, we will do our best to work with you to get you across the finish line with those applications, with that combined application. So very curious to see people pushing the limits of what our technology can do. And if you do something that hasn't been demonstrated before, we'd love to hear how you did it. So now let's go on to PipSeq Replay. Now, this is the application that allows users to generate more cDNA from a PIPS pellet that they stored at -80. Now, the amount of reagents that comes in an individual C-kit allows for this number of replay reactions at a given kit size. Now, there's a catch. You can't just take one pip pellet and re-amplify it 31 times. That's not how it works. The pips are only stable for one additional amplification. So you could re-amplify your sample one time. That can be your PipSeq replay. But it means that one C-kit has the reagents to re-amplify more than 4 T2 kits worth of experiments. So you had 24 T2 samples. You need to do PipSeq replay on all of them. One C-kit should be enough for all of those samples. But why would you want to do PipSeq replay? Well, most often in tech support, what we see is users that have their cDNA pass the QC in the user guide that don't have a final library that does. For something happened during library prep that failed. And so we want to get back to that cDNA that passed QC and try again. And so in order to do PipSeq replay, you would need both of these part numbers from Illumina. You would need the supplemental enrichment and amplification kit, as well as the library prep module to do the library prep after amplifying that cDNA. So that's everything that you would need to re-amplify your samples using PipSeq replay. And the PipSeq replay user guide is currently only available through your support staff members. So reach out to your FAS, your tech support hotline. We will be the ones that will be able to get you the replay user guide at this time until it's up on the website. So that should be seen. So next application that we want to discuss is the synthetic nucleotide tag application. Well, synthetic nucleotide tags could be any tag that labels the outside of cells and has a polyadenylated tail for capture. This workflow that we see at a high level is our single cell workflow where we mix cells in, we form our droplets, lyse them, and capture our gene expression information. But With a second set of primers specific to our synthetic nucleotide tag, we can go through a second round of amplification and a parallel library prep so that we can pool our gene expression library with our synthetic nucleotide tag library on the same sequencing run. Now, Illumina does not sell the upstream synthetic nucleotide tags, so we do not support the optimization of the staining and the labeling. So you would have to work with those vendors for the optimization of those tags. But those tags are compatible with our workflow in the downstream. So if it's polyadenylated, our platform should be able to pick it up. And that also applies for CROPSeq guide RNAs as well, where the guide RNA is polyadenylated. Our platform is able to capture those and dial them out as well. And so at a high level, what does this mean for that primer design for synthetic nucleotide tags or for CROPSeq applications? Well, it means that the forward primer that we use has to be conserved. So this is the same forward primer that you'd be using for dialing out or amplifying your gene expression libraries. But instead, we have a custom reverse primer that is going to be specific to the SNP, the hashtag, or the guide RNA that we are interested in for our c-Kit application. And so we have this conserved forward primer, but a designed and specific reverse primer for our c-Kit application. And so for the SNP or hashtag application with these tags on the outside, most using the SNP application are using it for surface epitope protein labeling of cells or nuclei. They're doing this for multiomics of gene expression and cell surface markers, and it uses the A series of recommended primers from our reference guides. The hashtag oligonucleotide method is used to label the outside of cells with polyadenylated barcodes for demultiplexing during analysis. This is often used to pool multiple samples into a single PIP-seq reaction. This is often used by customers to overload single-cell kits and get the price per cell down as low as possible. Now, I want to put a little asterisk behind that statement because there is a hidden cost with doing this hashing. Is you have the cost of the c-Kit, the cost of another library prep kit so that you can do the indexing of whatever you're amplifying out for your c-Kit application, plus all of the primers that you need to order for your c-Kit application. So though all of those things are costs that need to be included, it's not just you're putting more cells in and you get to divide the cost by more by a bigger denominator. There is a hidden cost in the hashing method. And in addition to that, it's an additional amount of optimization in the sample prep in the upstream, which if you've done single cell before, having to optimize additional sample prep steps can be a headache if you already have something that works. So that's something to consider as well. And this uses the H series of recommended primers from the reference guides. So hashtagging does have its use cases. It can be useful. But again, you're adding additional sample prep steps, and there is about another noise contribution from the hashing that causes about a 15 to 20% dropout in signal. So there is a lossiness to the signal as well. And for lipid hashing, this is an alternative hashing method used with lipids instead of proteins to hash cells, and it uses the A series of recommended primers from our reference guides. And these lipid hashing oligos would be used for many of the same reasons as hashtag oligonucleotides would be. They just have a different method of anchoring or tagging the outside of the cell. And so, to cover our last application that is a supported application with reference guides, we have the CROPSeq application, where polyadenylated reporter guide molecules are expressed in CROPSeq systems where gene editing is occurring. So if we get gene editing to occur in these CROPSeq systems, we should get a polyadenylated guide RNA that is expressed and capturable with this universal HU6 site that we would use to target with our custom reverse primer design. Now, the recommended primer sequences that are used in the reference guide for the CROPSeq application in the Illumina Single Cell reference guides for the c-Kit are specific to a CROPSeq vector. If your CROPSeq vector is different, it may have a different HU6 site. And so this sequence may need to be checked and optimized for your system if you're working with a different CROPSeq vector than the example one given in the reference guide. And so I know I said earlier that this is not a officially supported use case, but we get enough customers interested in it that I thought I'd talk about it briefly here. This is our targeted Amplicon application. I want to start off with a reminder that this is not an official Illumina use case. It does not have a user guide for this application. But the PE2 Nextera sequence, if one is going to do this application, should be used as the 5' end of the reverse primer. The 3' end of the reverse primer should be targeting the sequence of this application. So your target gene, whether that's a transgene, a specific gene for a disease state, what have you. But the same application applies essentially for all c-Kit applications. The forward PCR handle has to be the same in order to retain the single cell barcode structure. If you change the forward primer design, you have lost the Illumina single cell barcode structure, and now no bioinformatic analysis will be possible on whatever you are amplifying out with your c-Kit. So the forward primer must never change. But that reverse primer, this blue sequence, can align with your target gene, and then you have this nice Nextera PE2 sequence to make your target application directly compatible with our Illumina single cell UDIs. Now, customers will not be doing fragmentation for library prep of this workflow, which means IMIs or intrinsic molecular identifiers will not be generated. For those of you familiar with the gene expression workflow for Illumina Single Cell, fragmentation during library prep is essential for the generation of IMIs or intrinsic molecular identifiers for transcript counting during bioinformatic analysis. This workflow does not undergo fragmentation, so there is no generation of an IMI. That means this is a reads count method only. There is no molecular counting and no transcript counting due to a lack of IMIs. So if interested in this application, you need to ask yourself, is molecular counted needed for answering my biological question of interest before you go down this path? And so before we transition to our Q&A session, I want to leave us all with a few thoughtful questions to ask oneself before beginning a c-Kit experiment, which is, what type of application do I want to use? Have I done this before? Have I piloted this type of application? Do I have Illumina single cell experience, which is recommended to have before starting a c-Kit application? Have I validated all of my vectors, all of my staining and labeling methods? Have I made sure that all of my primers align appropriately, that my sequencing primers align with my amplification primers? And have I ordered these primers? And once I have everything in hand, what is my plan to analyze this data once I get across the finish line? Because if you're doing an unsupported c-Kit application that Illumina does not officially support, you might not have many options for analysis short of developing your own pipeline. So that's just something to put out there. And so without further ado, to the Q&A session.